Hey guys, this is Dennis the Founder Think Hero.
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
And this is our review of Captain America the Winter Soldier, which is basically Captain America 2.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So let's start off. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it had great action, a good storyline, and a lot of great chemistry between all the characters. What did you think?
I thought the same. I thought it was excellent. It was one of my favorite. I won't go as far as saying it's my favorite Marvel individual movies. I'm a really big Thor fan, but that's just a personal thing. But I not putting that aside, I love this movie. I think Marvel's they have confidence. They're just moving now. They're not intimidated by anything right now. They're just moving forward. I mean, it's such good action in here. Good story. Good, more spy thriller than I mean, people were telling me that, but I was really surprised. Like, I love the Marvel films because even though it's got this whole cinematic universe, they're giving the directors freedom and writers to kind of do what they want. Like, this is not Thor. No. This is not, it's its own thing. Thor does what it does, and this does what it does. And I think it was a great movie.
Yeah, I rank it high up there in the Marvel,
it's very high.
Marvel comic book movies.
Right.
I still, I think some people were trying to debate if it was better than The Dark Knight. I personally don't think so. I still, like The Dark Knight more.
Right.
And I still even like The Avengers a little bit more as well.
Right.
And as far as like the individual ones, I still like Iron Man 1, the first one, just has a special place in my heart.
Right.
But it is up there.
Right, we're saying that. We mean, we still love it. It's just maybe not the best. And I think Dark Knight, is a wrong comparison. You know, I think, if anything, this is more of a spy thriller. I mean, I know this is a stretch. I would almost like to look at it from the eyes of a Jason Bourne or a James Bond because it has that, great spy novel feel to it as opposed, because Dark Knight is just so different. It's, even though it's a superhero genre, it's just Christopher Nolan. It's a very different universe. But they did a great job. I mean, Chris Evans is really owning this role. I like the first movie was okay.
Yeah.
It was probably my least favorite of the
It was one of my least favorites.
But he's really owning it in this one. He's so into the role right now.
Yeah, even in Avengers, you don't have that much of him, where this one, we really get to see much more depth from his character. I think the stories, one of the things, even though I still like Avengers a little bit more, the things that Captain America 2 have over it is it does have a better story. The Avengers story is silly.
Yeah.
The story's better, and there's more character development for his character and for especially Nick Fury. Nick Fury...
Yeah, he was great in this. He was really
We've
good.
never seen him like this before in any of the movies because he's always been kind of a limited role.
Almost kind of a caricature. Like, he just kind of comes on with his person, like, I'm Sam Jackson. He's Sam Jackson. But in this one, I thought it was a much more personal role for him, much more personal
Well, it's bigger. He actually has something to do.
Right,
Before, he just comes in and says, Avengers, he obviously had a bigger role than he had before in other movies. But this is the first time where he actually did something. He was, they tried to kill him. He was fighting and all that stuff. So he actually was part of the movie.
This almost makes you. This is almost like a Captain America / Shield movie.
Yeah.
And it makes you. And again,
mini Avengers.
Hate to keep bashing on the television show, but this shows you how good it can be done. And granted, I know it can't. The show can't match the budget, but this shows you how good spy, espionage, like all that stuff, spy thrillers can be done. It can be done really well. This movie did it. S.H.I.E.L.D. struggles with that, the television show, and this is the better version of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is the S.H.I.E.L.D. I want to see all the time.
Well, what's going to be interesting is the next episode.
Right, which I am actually looking forward to checking out.
Well, there's going to be a ton of people who have never seen the show,
right,
or people who stopped watching it that are
right,
going to watch this next episode.
Right.
This is the big one.
Because Agent Sitwell, that you see, won't say what happens to him, but you see him in the previous S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, gets called away to do something. Now he's in this movie. Won't say what happens, but
so I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to this next episode, and if they do it right, they can keep people watching.
Might be good, it could be good.
Because it changes a lot of stuff. I love the chemistry between Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson, Captain America and Black Widow. That's one of my favorite things. I thought Falcon was awesome.
He was great. Anthony Mackie did a great job.
Brought a lot of humor, and then also I actually liked the Falcon outfit.
No, it was good. It was practical, and I like how they kind of organized it so he didn't have to explain. Like, he didn't have to learn. He wasn't learning to be a superhero. They kind of, I won't say what happened. They kind of tie some things in where it's like he just gets it, and then kind of just got to business. This movie is what, 2 hours and 15 minutes, give or take. So it's got some time, but it just flows. There's a nice flow to it, and I love Marvel.
A lot of action.
Like the action, and whenever it gets a little too serious, they always throw some humor in there. Just like Thor: The Dark World. It's not quite as funny as Thor: The Dark World, but it still had that Marvel humor to it, that Joss Whedon kind of banter a little bit.
Now, I like the action was very hyper-realistic versus Avengers. And I'm not saying which one's better, because I like both.
Right.
Avengers, the action is more over-the-top comic book superhero type of stuff. and this was more like hand to hand, but obviously, hyper exaggerated. Right. Especially because there's people with powers, even the people who don't have it, like Black Widow. Like she's coming down and killing people, like a regular person. Because her character is supposed to be a regular person.
Right, and it was nice, and this isn't a spoiler to say, I don't think, because we know George St. Pierre is in the movie.
Yeah.
George St. Pierre fights in the movie. Why else would you have why else would you have a UFC fighter in a movie? So, but the fight scene between them is great. Just a lot of good hand-to-hand combat. George St. Pierre has that ultimate fighting training, so it was just really good fight choreography. Great fight choreography.
Yeah, I liked it, and a lot of good stuff. My only real negative is I thought the villain was it was predictable. You could tell from the trailer who the villain was going to be.
Right.
And that's how it happened.
Now, what I thought was interesting, I thought this was cool, and I'm sure you probably got it, because Dennis and I actually saw it. He saw it before, didn't I? But we went, the second time he saw it was in the same theater, same night. Opening night, Friday night, it's busy, packed. Now, the cool thing was, everybody who's watching this video probably already knows who the Winter Soldier is. I won't. I could say it now, but maybe I won't, because maybe some of you don't. I'm assuming most of you know who it is. It's on the posters.
Yes.
They've been doing press junkets together. They're all over the media. You can't
even that
miss
special
them.
that Marvel had on TV.
It shows who the actor is.
Not even that. They said who it was.
They said who it was, right. So, but it was cool when we were watching the movie, half the theater, when it was revealed who the winner was, there was a bunch of gasps.
Yeah.
It was
oh my God!
Yeah, I was like, wow, you really didn't know that. But that's good.
I think that's the thing is we always forget that most people who watch these movies, they don't follow movies and television and comic books and video games like we do.
They're not online watching videos all the time trying to see what's happening. Unlike us, which you guys are awesome for doing that. But so I thought it was cool that even though I knew who it was, that a lot of people were like, oh, gas.
Well, you know what? Let's get into our overall thoughts and a grade, and let's go into a little bit of spoilers.
Sure, right.
All right. So overall, I'm going to give it an A-. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best comic movies that have been made. It's just not at the top.
Right.
It's just kind of a little bit below.
Right.
I think great action, great story, other than the predictable villain.
Right.
But a lot of good humor, so it's just a good time. I've seen it twice. I'll probably see it a third time.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to go see it a second time for sure. I'm going to give it a B+. Okay. But please don't think that means that I like it. I don't love it. I do love it, but Thor is just my world. I love the sci-fi / fantasy, like Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars elements. Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm pumped for. I just love that science fiction, Star Trek-y, Star Wars world. More, that's just what gets me on. That's what people ever has something. So this was great. I like spy thrillers, but I like sci-fi fantasy more. So I like Thor: Dark World a little bit better. But this B+, go see it. I'm gonna go see it a second time. I thought it was great.
Okay. All right, let's get into the spoiler sections. If you haven't seen it already, don't watch this part. But anyways, so yeah, the negative thing I said was the predictable villain. You could tell that Robert Redford was the villain.
He was good. He was a little hammy a few times, but he was good though.
No, he was good.
He was good.
It wasn't him. And I like the reveal of Hydra. The reveal of Hydra was
that
cool.
was a cool scene, that underground layer with all the computers, and that was great.
And Arnon Zola.
Is it Toby Jones?
Toby Jones,
yeah, good actor, yeah.
So, but I just didn't like that you knew from the trailer that Robert Redford was the bad guy pulling the strings.
Right.
When you watch the trailer, it's like, oh, who else is it going to be?
Right.
It's going to be him. So that was probably my biggest negative, which I didn't have too many of.
No, it was a great movie. Just all the characters, even this new girl, the blonde girl who was his neighbor. Who
oh, she's playing Sharon Carter.
She was good. I liked her. Yeah, I thought she was good.
I guess she's from Revenge, the TV show Revenge.
Yeah, Revenge. That's where I've seen her from. Okay, that's where I've seen her from.
I haven't seen the show, but people were telling me that's where she's from.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah, I liked her. Stan Lee's cameo was funny.
Yeah, that was good. He's like, oh no, as the police,
I probably think that's probably one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos. I'm trying to think
sometimes
of one
they're a little bit forced. That one actually made sense with the plot.
And he looked like he would be.
Yeah, he would be like a museum guard.
Yeah,
he'd be a museum guard. I love. I guess we're jumping around a little bit. I guess I kind of want to go into, if we can, to the end, the credits. I think that's the most interesting thing. And what's interesting about it is the fact that we're gonna see Quicksilver twice this summer.
Yeah,
it's different though, because Quicksilver we know is Magneto's son, but they can't do that.
They can't say that in the Marvel one. In the X-Men one, they can.
So I wonder, are these kids going to be the experiments?
Probably.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver,
that's what they are hinting at.
Yeah, experiments. So it's going to be interesting to see Quicksilver played by the kid from American Horror Story. I always forget his name. The blonde kid who's going to be in the.
Oh yeah, I forgot. But I personally don't like the look of Quicksilver in the X-Men one from the pictures I saw. I like the way that Quicksilver looks in this Marvel. Yeah. Even though we've only seen a few pictures and we saw, 30 seconds of it in the end credits, I like the way he looks, and I like the way Scarlet Witch looks. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, like Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, it gives me hope for Avengers 2, which I already am, dying to see anyways.
Right. But it is interesting that they can't use, the characters, because those are Magneto's kids, but they can't use Magneto because Fox owns the rights to the mutants. But that was cool to see them. And in the very end was fine. I mean, it was nice. It was kind of cool to see Sebastian Stan go back and Winter Soldier and
take a look at the Bucky Barnes stuff.
And I think he's just gonna have to discover who he is on his own, and that's fine. I mean,
and I have a feeling he's going to end up joining the Avengers in some capacity.
I'm gonna go spoilers here. We're already in the spoiler section, but I'm gonna go a little bit beyond. So if you have ever read Ed Brubaker's run on the Winter Soldier, Bucky does eventually replace him. Now, that might not happen. They don't always follow the comics. I don't know this for sure. But we know Sebastian Stan just signed a 9-film deal. Chris Evans has publicly said after his 6-film deal, he's done. He's got a movies directing now. Like, he wants to move on to other things. So maybe he could take over as Captain America. Maybe. That's a lot.
But I don't think they're going to kill Captain America.
No.
They're not going to kill Steve Rogers.
Right.
I think they'll make him go away.
Right.
And then Bucky Barnes will take over as Captain America. Right. And then whenever Chris Evans decides that he wants to come back, or they hire someone else to be Steve Rogers, that will happen.
Because he was so good. I mean, Chris Evans was so good in this movie. He impressed me more than any other time I've seen him. I mean, I actually liked him in the Fantastic Four. I thought he was a great Johnny Storm just because how cocky he was. But I mean, I think he shined in this one, definitely.
Yeah, and another thing we should mention, even though I think people blew it way out of proportion, because we, like everyone, some of you guys know, I do AMC Movie Talk. We did a review of it, and we forgot to mention the Doctor Strange thing, and people went nuts. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you didn't talk about it." Let's not get too overhyped. They just mentioned his name, okay? That was cool.
Yeah.
And I like it, and it means that, hey, they're leading towards a Doctor Strange movie, hopefully. But it's not like they showed him or, you know what I mean?
Well, it's like when Mike and I do our Arrow reviews, they have the guy who's Blue Beetle Cord. I mean, doesn't mean they're actually going to see Blue Beetle. I mean, it's cool. I mean, sometimes they just throw Easter eggs in. It doesn't always mean those Easter eggs are going to come to fruition. It could.
I think if they are,
it's going to happen eventually.
I'm just saying it wasn't enough of a thing that, that it should have been, oh my God.
Because you have to realize that most people, who see this film, I'm putting my mom and dad out there. They just wanted to see the movie. They liked it. My dad liked it for its kind of spy thriller-esque, nature. My mom likes the Marvel universe, but they don't know who Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
No.
Most of America doesn't, and the rest of the world are casual viewers just kind of going to see a good movie. They don't know who these people are. Like when they showed Thanos at the end, 70 to 80% of the theater was like, huh? Who's that guy? Who's this weird bluish gray with his big teeth? Who's this guy? No one knows who he is.
Yeah, and then if you go to more of a fan screening or a press screening,
everybody knows.
Everyone's like, oh my God! Ah!
Yeah, right.
So Doctor Strange mentioned cool, but not a huge thing.
Right. I mean, it will. I'm sure we'll get Doctor Strange, and it'll be cool to see that when that comes down the road. But for right now, that doesn't mean much for us now. They said they have movies planned till 2028. Kevin Feige just said so. That's a lot of movies. But you do wonder, will this has to die at some point. Not forever, but will this just keep going for the next 2 decades? What genre do you know that's out right now has gone on this strong in the history? Films only been around for over 100 years, but still.
I don't know.
I'm not complaining. Hey, I'm not complaining. I love these movies.
I think they won't die, but they may lessen to the fact where maybe we're not going to have 5 or 6 comic book movies a year.
There's got to be burnout at some point.
Yeah, and actually there's probably even more when you think about all the kind of things that are based on non-Marvel, non-DC properties.
Yeah, 300 and all that kind of stuff.
Then you're going to have more. So I think they'll dwindle down and maybe we'll get 2 or 3 maybe a year versus right now 6, 7,
luckily right now they're good.
Yeah.
That's why no one's complaining because everyone we've seen, especially Marvel, really hasn't missed a beat since maybe the Incredible Hulk. So it's good stuff.
I like the Incredible Hulk.
It's okay. I don't mind. It's just not one of my favorites. It's okay. Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's what we thought of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. You can post your comments below on the website thinkhero.com or on our YouTube channel Think Hero Pro. Make sure to subscribe to that.
You can also come find us on Twitter. We talked to Dennis and I about Captain America. What did you think of the movie? What did you think of the end and the mid credits and the final credits scene? What are you looking forward to? How excited are you for Guardians of the Galaxy? We're at Think Hero. I'm at Griffin DE.
And we also have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans. Make sure you like that page and share our videos on Twitter and Facebook and other social media.